BC Museum found itself in headlines recently over allegations of bullying and racism towards Indigenous staff. This on top of the controversy surrounding some Indigenous artifacts in its exhibit. Now the museum says it's working hard to update all their Indigenous collections, and this time seeking consent. Veronica Cooper has more in this week's history.
So this is a good example of a mask that would only belong to a particular family.
Lou-Ann Neel is the acting head of ICAR.
ICAR is the Indigenous Collections and Repatriation Department, and we oversee all of the exhibits that are here in the third floor gallery at the Royal BC Museum.
And it's a busy department.
When we last spoke, we were featuring the Repatriation Handbook, which actually has taken another turn and is going online in a more readable format online. So that's continuing. We're also working more closely with communities to tell their repatriation stories and include that on our website so other communities and museums around the world can learn about what we're doing in repatriation. We'll be talking with communities and asking, which of these cultural treasures are you okay still having on display, and how would you like to tell the story of that particular treasure?
ICAR is also relabeling and digitizing the First Nation collection.
Many of our displays still contain names that we used back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So we're updating all of those. Filling in all of those gaps, getting all the correct names. Each nation has many other nations underneath it and communities. And each of those communities have specific names. So for instance, with the whaler's hat, this is actually from the Tlaoquit people. Many people know the Tlaoquit as the place now called Tofino. So this whaler's hat is attributed to Tlaoquit, and that's all we know about it. But in every cultural treasure that's here in the museum has a connection to an individual family, an expanded network of families, and the tribe itself. And you don't get that from these tags.
The Clayoquot whaler's hat has now been digitized.
You learn a little bit more about the artist who created it, the specific village they came from.
It's an ongoing project.
We figure with the thousands of cultural treasures we have, it might take 4 or 5 years for us to get everything back into the database, updated and available. And this will also bring us full circle again to repatriation, because now communities will actually be able to do their research online before they come to visit us.
This Week in History, brought to you by the Royal BC Museum, bringing British Columbia's stories together.